Across the endless sands of the Sahara, carved into stone long before the first pyramids rose, lie messages from a forgotten world. Who created them and why? From the mysterious spirals of Oued Djerat to the giant giraffes of the Aïr Mountains and the sacred figures of Tassili Niger, this is a land where the rocks themselves remember. Were these ancient carvings simple art or something far more profound, a spiritual code, a record of lost knowledge, or even the echoes of an unknown civilization? What secrets does the world's largest museum of prehistoric art hide? In southeastern Algeria, in the heart of the Sahara Desert and near the border with Libya and Mali, lies a large mountain plateau called Tassili Niger, literally Plateau of the Rivers, located at an altitude of over 1,000 meters. The site, which covers an area of 72,000 square kilometers, is a national park and biosphere reserve declared a World Heritage Site since 1982. Thanks to the predominant sandstone and its water-retaining capacity, the area has vegetation that contrasts sharply with the surrounding desert. The scale of erosion, especially in the deep ravine systems in the north, indicates that Tassili's parched wilderness was once crisscrossed by waterways. Paleoclimatologists have speculated that between 11,700 and 5,500 years ago, changes in the Earth's tilt and orbit relative to the Sun warmed the northern hemisphere. During this African humid period, longer and more intense summer monsoons filled the geological basins with lakes and wetlands. Great rivers connected the Atlantic to the Mediterranean coast of the Maghreb. Large mammals roamed the endless grasslands. Among the species found there are some of the world's oldest trees, the endangered Saharan cypress and myrtle trees. Its entire surface is covered with rock formations created by erosion, which emerge from the sand dunes and resemble, from a distance, the ruins of ancient cities. These immense rocky plains, which sometimes give way to forests of monoliths, are hollowed out by akbas, holes in the escarpments accessible only on foot or camel, and multiple faults and canyons, sometimes with gueltas, watercourses or wells. The plateau and massif are inhabited by the Tuareg, and the nearest town is Djanet, an oasis in the far west of the region. In 1910, the site was discovered to contain one of the largest and most important assemblages of prehistoric parietal art in the world. The earliest examples of this art date back about 12,000 years, between the 10th and 9th millennia BC, to the early Neolithic period and towards the end of the last ice age, when the Sahara was a habitable savanna rather than a desert. To date, some 15,000 carvings have been identified depicting large wild animals, such as antelopes and crocodiles, herds of cattle, and humans hunting and dancing. The oldest depictions of animals that lived in the Sahara during the early Holocene, created more than 10,000 years ago by hunter-gatherer groups. The earliest paintings were made around 7,550 years ago by the same groups, depicting schematic human figures. These paintings are among the oldest and largest in all of Africa, with some figures measuring up to 5 meters in height. Some of the paintings are characterized by the depiction of figures that appear to float on the rock surface, with round, featureless heads. It is believed that the sites where they appear were dedicated to rituals and ceremonies. With the domestication of livestock in the area around 4,500 years ago, sheep, cows, goats, and dogs began to be depicted. Alongside them appear hunters with bows, women, and children. From approximately 1000 BC, With the complete desertification of the Sahara, figures of camels, which had replaced donkeys and cattle as the primary means of transportation, appeared. This coincides with the development of long-distance trade routes used by caravans to transport salt and other goods. Among the most notable paintings is the so-called horned goddess, created in the Neolithic period and depicting a walking woman wearing what appear to be horns on her head, fringed bracelets, a skirt, and leg bands and anklets. The figure, which could be a representation of fertility, is superimposed on other smaller, older figures. The horned goddess of Tassili is an early example of the African sacred feminine. Her femininity, fertility, and connection with nature are emphasized as the Neolithic artist superimposes the figure on other smaller, older figures. The use of bull horns is a common theme in later roundhead paintings, reflecting the continued integration of domesticated cattle into Saharan daily life. Cattle imagery, specifically that of bulls, became a central theme not only at Tassili but also at other nearby sites in Libya. A group of paintings from Tassili has led to a hypothesis that links them to the use of hallucinogenic substances, such as mushrooms. They depict a series of masked figures in a row that could be dancers, surrounded by long, lively festoons of geometric designs of various kinds. Each of them holds a mushroom-like object in their right hand, from which two parallel lines extend to the center of the dancer's head. According to some researchers, such as Giorgio Samarini and Terence McKenna, this could represent the effect the mushroom has on the human mind. Depictions of mushrooms associated with fish appear elsewhere in Tassili. One of the main figures supporting this hypothesis is that of a shaman, depicted with his body covered in mushrooms. According to Earl Lee, this could be related to a ritual in which the shaman was buried fully clothed, and when he was dug up some time later, small mushrooms grew from his clothing. However, other researchers believe these representations are unrealistic. What do the rock carvings of Oued Djerat mean? Located in Tassili, Niger, Algeria, and dating back to the Neolithic period, they have many similarities with those of southern Oransa, Algeria, and Fezzan, Libya. According to Henry Lotte, they date back more than 7,000 years. Struck by its large naturalistic carvings, Oued Djerat was nicknamed the Vézère of the Sahara. After recovering the Tassili paintings in 1956 to 1957, Henri Lotte undertook in 1959 to compile an inventory of the carvings at Oued Djerat. Lotte's expedition was exceptional for the information it was able to provide and for the resilience of its members in the face of the difficult living conditions in Tassili. However, the brutal methods used at the time by Lotte's team, wetting with a wet sponge, scribbling with charcoal, destroyed the biological information that would have allowed them to be dated in some places. Today, some paintings are disintegrating due to frequent wetting by visitors. Among the various engravings, we can see the following. Spirals with the same coiling direction. This type of engraving is common and is generally interpreted as a symbol of fertility. Triple spiral. Unlike the previous spiral, the elegance of this engraving is evident. The two figures at the bottom result from the origin, from its center, of two lines in opposite directions. The work was done on a horizontal slab, a large engraved buffalo whose horn tips are separated by 1 meter. This leading fossil of the oldest rock art is magnificently represented here and corresponds to what animal paleontology teaches us: an engraved buffalo with a kneeling figure behind it, reaching with its right hand toward its tail. Either bristling hair or feathers can be seen on its head. A large engraved ox, whose snout has been worked twice. A more recent spiral crowns it, as if invoking the arrival of water. A painted chariot, drawn by two horses and running at a flying gallop. It could be a combat scene, with men lying in front of the chariot. This ochre painting shows the driver's good posture, but how could he have balanced on the platform? Another flying gallop chariot, painted in ochre. Here the perspective is better seen, as the reins run directly from the driver's hands to the necks of the two horses. The axle ends in two four-spoked wheels. Three spears leaning forward appear to be fixed to the platform. Two dogs run alongside the chariot. Below, three men in short tunics carry shields. Three more precede the horses. They are armed with a spear and shield. One of them has a head reminiscent of a dog. An ochre painting of a chariot with three horses. The perspective is incorrect. The chariot appears to be flying above the horses. This period of chariots marks the height of the Equidian era. There is a large figure on the left. On the right, a small figure that is difficult to see. A large bovine painted in red ochre. It partially covers a chariot, and the number of horses is difficult to determine. On the bovine's back, a small quadruped painted in white and red can be seen. It is followed by men, preceded by a small imp. There is a white square in the center of the ox. Its explanation remains unknown. Two-tone bovines painted in red and white march from left to right. A deer is visible in the upper left. Below, a parade of figures in short tunics. More cattle, antelopes and various animals painted with ochre and white paint. On the right, warriors armed with spears are seen. The painting is very fine with ochre, ranging from dark brown to wine-colored. A man armed with a spear also holds a strange object ending in a hook, which is common in this area. The engraved archer has a stylized figure. He wears a headdress and holds a bow as if he had shot an arrow. He may be wearing a lightly fringed cape over his back. The belt, formed by a double line, extends with a flowing tail. He appears to be wearing a phallic sheath hooked onto the belt, leaving his testicles exposed, as shown in some regional ethnographies. A warrior engraved with the same inspiration as the previous engraving. However, the head is this time that of a cynocephalus. The legs are well represented. The belt is formed by 6 lines. The bow is held by the wood in the left hand. Curiously, only the toes of the left foot are engraved. The man is followed by a dog. At the fork of the Oued Djerat, there is this representation linked to a very ancient fertility cult, now visited only by solitary nomads. This type of representation is usually deteriorated. A calf is finely engraved with polished surfaces on the head, belly, and legs. The hooves are clearly visible. Around the neck is a necklace with a pendant. The head of a sheep, hidden by the calf, appears at chest level, an antelope or goat. The fur is represented with a series of engraved lines and is, as in other engravings, accompanied by spirals, one with 2 turns and the other, more irregular, with only 1. Finally, and most enigmatic, the figure shown here evokes a devil and refers to hundreds of legends from the region, whose ancient myths have never ceased to circulate. Deep in the Sahara, where the wind whispers ancient secrets, rise the Aïr Mountains, a refuge of stone that holds the memory of forgotten civilizations. Between their crevices, the shadows of giant giraffes emerge from the rock, silent witnesses to a past where the sand was not master of the landscape. What stories were carved into their walls? What enigmas does this land, where humanity and the desert have danced for millennia, hide? Join us on a journey to the heart of an archaeological mystery, where stones speak and time stands still. The Aïr Mountains are characterized by a varied landscape. There are high mountains, deep gorges, extensive plateaus, and rock formations. Some plant species relatively rare in the Sahara grow at higher altitudes. There are also rocks and cavities that house historic rock paintings and carvings, testimony to earlier human life and activities in the region. In the photo, the dead tree located in front of the great dunes of Arakau on the eastern slope of the Aïr Mountains. In this engraving, numerous horses, graffiti, tifinagh, and a large figure, possibly a woman, can be seen. As usual, the eyes are not engraved, but are obtained through the use of natural cavities. The woman is 1.60 meters tall. Beside her, although less visible, another person is standing, watching in the distance. This central figure, 1.50 meters tall, has an ant-like head, typical of this period in which warriors predominate over hunters. The costume and appendages on the head, which may not be feathers, are visible. This large figure also wears a dress whose engraving highlights a kind of toothed pattern. The presence of two small hemispherical protuberances at the bottom, on the right and left, is notable. El Aïr is known for its rock art, dating back to 6000 BC until approximately 1000 BC. During the African humid period, the region was a pastoral area, as illustrated by images of cattle and large mammals. However, during the 3rd millennium BC, a process of desertification began, and Tuaregs from the north migrated into the region. Later, art depicted warfare, depicting horses and chariots. In particular, the 5-meter-high carvings of the Oued giraffes discovered in 1999 are internationally renowned. Rock art in the region is predominantly stone carving, initially using sharpened rock, and from around 1200 BC, perhaps using metal. In this example, despite the weakness of the engraving style, it is a document from the Horse Age. The warriors, in the form of a diabolo, are equipped with spears and shields. On the right, an exceptional beast reminiscent of a lion can be seen. This individual, with a slender torso and elongated limbs, exhibits a circular head with two prominent appendages on top, which could represent a ritual headdress, stylized horns, or even an unknown symbolic form. His body is decorated with a series of geometric markings, possibly a body ornament or tattoos. In each hand, he holds what appear to be ritual objects or tools, suggesting a shamanic or leadership role within his society. This type of petroglyph is associated with the hunter-shepherd period, approximately 6,000 to 4,000 years ago, a time when the Sahara still supported grasslands and abundant wildlife. The presence of anthropomorphic figures with ceremonial ornaments and postures reinforces the hypothesis that these engravings were not merely decorative, but served a spiritual, mnemonic, or even knowledge-transmitting function. Here, one can observe the difference in style between the first 3 giraffes on the right and the previous 2, and finally, the one on the far left. In this sample, one might wonder what the multiplicity of head shapes, oversized in relation to the body, corresponds to. Then, observe the individuals with bitriangular fur, those with straight fur, and those whose legs are visible up to the upper thighs. In this enlargement of the giraffe's belly pattern, one can observe the combined use of stippling and strokes. The level of detail in the body texture suggests great technical skill, reinforcing the hypothesis that these engravings not only had an aesthetic purpose, but were possibly linked to religious beliefs, hunting rituals, or knowledge systems passed down through time. Here, 2 more ant-headed figures can be seen in a prayer position. In the middle, there is an individual intentionally made smaller, and the entire scene portrays what could be a religious act. Various quadrupeds are depicted in these prints, but the interest lies in the 2 figures in the center. The one on the left would fit well in a modern art museum and doesn't allow for a satisfactory explanation. The one on the right could be holding a bow. The people of the Horse Age loved to depict themselves so much that one could compile an inventory of their various representations, which are often, in fact, accompanied by one or more horses. Theories about the origin and purpose of these artistic manifestations are as diverse as they are fascinating. Some archaeologists maintain that they were depictions of everyday life, hunting scenes, and religious rituals that attest to the spiritual connection between ancient inhabitants and their environment. Others venture more enigmatic hypotheses, suggesting that these engravings could be records of ancient mythologies or even messages of forgotten knowledge. The presence of humanoid figures with stylized features, sometimes surrounded by halos or abstract forms, has given rise to symbolic interpretations that delve into the realm of mysticism. The Aïr Massif, with its eerie atmosphere and history veiled by the dust of time, remains an enigma to science and the human imagination. As researchers continue to unravel the secrets of these stones, which seem to speak an ancient language, the wind continues to blow through their cliffs, carrying with it the whispers of a lost civilization. Perhaps in the stillness of the Saharan night, when the moon illuminates the ancient carved walls, it is possible to hear the echoes of those who once carved their history into the eternal rock.